The Joe Rogan Experience.
It was cool back then. You could see stuff. There was real stuff to see. Not that it's still real, but it's just a different real. There's a lot more. It's a whole international world now, which it wasn't back then. Back then, it was just like the street survivors of the city at the very, the physical center of it, and you saw some amazing things. There, and it was alive, certainly alive. Now there's, you're crashing into not exactly debutante or not exactly like bridesmaid parties, but like, there's people with flags and people dragging people around and stuff.
Well, there's always a lot.
There's a lot to see. There's still a lot to see. It's still New York City, New York.
But back then, having that experience, being in that wild New York of the 1970s, and then getting on SNL, how old were you?
26.
Wow. That had to have been a fucking bizarre experience.
Yes, it was. It was a great experience for sure. And you saw, your life just changed dramatically from being, barely able to pay your rent or afford, a car, a telephone, anything like that, to having a credit card. Like that was a big thing, credit card and a credit card. And, we had to, because they wanted a safe, we had this sort of cab account with a thing called Skulls Angels. There was a sort of company within the yellow cab company called Skulls Angels, and you could call them, and they would pick you up anywhere in the city and take you wherever. And it was just, you just signed your name. You didn't have to have any money. And I had a credit card and that account, and that's all. And I just lived for a couple of years like that. And you just basically, all you were doing was going to work and going to sleep and then in between, when you'd have 12 or 15 hours where you didn't have to do anything, you go like, okay, let's go, and then you go like, anything could happen, and you could go anywhere in the city, and you sort of had a thumbprint of okay. You could go into any place, and people would be like, come on in, and you got to, really, I mean, I probably could have done, gotten more out of it, but I certainly got a lot. I put a lot into it. I got an amazing kind of education. I got an amazing education, but I guess that gets back to sort of, I got to put my education to use, is what I should say. I mean, in this kind of new challenging environment, I got to put what my education had to that point had been to use.